open your sketchbooks at the back, and you're drawn on a nice clean page that is, when you close it, going to be covered up because we need something to protect this paper. And then take a ruler, or it could be a straight edge or a piece of card, and you're going to draw a box. So I'm making my box a bit of size here. In fact, I think I'll use the thickness of my ruler. And because I've got my ruler up to the edge, it's going to be nice and parallel. You're going to divide this box into sections. Now you can do as many as you want. Even sections. And this is going to be your grid. Okay. So in your pack, you probably only had the 2 or 3 pencils. You had a 4B, and you should have had a 2B, and just a normal pencil, which is called an HB. But you might have had an H or an H pencil, a 2H, which is your lightest pencil. So let's write that down. An HB is your normal pencil, a mid-tone, and then you have 2B, which is darker. And some of you, I'm sure you already know this from before, from Miss Catherine's class. And for us, the 4B is the darkest. So you might not see it in the video, but there is a slight difference between each one. Now take your normal one, that's your HB, and you are going to fill in the middle box by shading diagonally. So I know this looks a wee bit messy. Don't worry if you go outside the lines. And you can see I've done a layer over my first layer. And I'm holding the pencil in the middle. Do you see that? So the pencil is on its side. I'm not holding it down here like I'm writing my name. That gives it too heavy. So you want to have room on your digits to move back and forward. So there's about 2 or 3 layers on there. If I turn it and go the other way, I'm putting on a 4th layer, and you can see it's a gradual darkness. Now within the box, I want you to try and go from dark to light. So I'll do another layer. And I'm not leaning any harder. But there's some areas where I won't shade over again. So when I come down, 5th, 6th layer, I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom. And I blend it in. So it's this idea of blending without having a sudden stop. You want to gradually make it go from dark to light. Okay, so you can see I've built up this area with lots of layers, and then as I come down, I lean off the pencil slightly, and there's a very slight difference between here and here, dark to light. Now it's a bit messy, so you can take your ruler or a flat piece of paper, and I'm just going to tidy that up. This is quite a good eraser. I don't know if you have an eraser like this in the house where it's thinner. Okay, so this was made by an HB pencil. So you put that in so you have a note. And then we're going to go this way. So this way to the left, next box, we're using now a 2B pencil, and I'm going to do the same again, but with a 2B. Now if you feel you're going to find it hard to stay inside the line, you can take the ruler or again a scrap piece of paper, and that is going to stop you going over the other box. And again, I'm holding the pencil kind of in the middle, not at the bottom, and on its side. So now I'm going to turn it again on its side and go the opposite way to build up another layer. And again, I'm not leaning any harder on the pencil. It's the 2B, which is dark. And the more layers you add, the darker it's going to become. So as you see now, nearly done with this box. Different tone, because this is a 2B and it gives you a slightly different tone. And again, really gradual going from dark to light. Using the ruler just to tidy that up. Everything nice and tidy. So then the next box would be your 4B. So find your 4B pencil. So it tells you at the top. Make sure it's nice and sharp. And with the 4B, because we're missing out 3B, you'll notice the difference quite quickly. And it feels softer. The lead is softer, which means the lead is darker. So again, building this up. The darker part for this box is at the top, and then as I come down, I lean off, make it lighter at the bottom, ever so slightly. And remember to keep changing the direction, one way then the other, so that everything is blended. So this is your goal, is to do a gradual blend. All right. Okay, so this, I had an H pencil in the bag, so you might have a 2H. You could use a 2H for your lighter tone, and when you're shading, you'll feel the difference when you shade. The pencil lead just feels harder, more kind of scratchy. It's definitely not as soft. So you go one way, go the other. Whatever you do, you're not leaning hard on the pencil. You're just gonna make indentations in the paper and ruin the paper. You might even rip the paper, so you don't want to do that. So you go one way and then over the other. Be very, very patient, very careful, very tidy, very accurate. Take your time. Okay, so I've got one extra box at the end. Not worried about that, just leave it there. And then remember to put a note underneath. Make sure each pencil, in your case it might be a 2H pencil. So just remember, H means hardness on the pencil. B, if you've got a B after the number, that is bolder. It's a softer lead.